Welcome to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And to our viewers at home, we're talking all about preparing your personal finances for the end of the year. Are you ready for the end of the year? What should you be doing now? We're talking about organized, tax efficient, being ready for the coming year. Greg, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
It's so good to see you.
Good to be here and excited about the show.
I am too. Very excited about the show. And Kristen, how are you?
I'm doing great. Excited about the show as well. On the end of the year, can you believe it?
No.
We're already talking about the end of the year. The year just flew by like a flash.
It totally flew by so very quickly. I can't believe that that's what we're talking about, but it makes perfect sense because of where we are. And it's so important for people to have a good understanding for where they stand currently at that mid-year point specifically. So let's get into a little bit about that. Reviewing your financial goals, Kristen. Can we talk a little bit about why it's important to review your financial goals?
Yeah, it is important. It's important to do this throughout the year, not just when you're preparing for the end of the year, but really just to make sure you're on track with where you're at with your finances, with your retirement plan, to make sure that it still lines up with what your goals are, right?
Okay.
So we've talked on previous shows about how it's important to communicate with your advisor about life changes.
Yes.
And this will be a time to communicate those changes. If there's a goal that maybe changed due to maybe you retiring early or an income change or something like that, then we need to address that and reposition the goal so that we can reposition the plan.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes, and a budget review.
Okay.
I mean, it's a great time here as you're looking at the end of the year to start thinking about your goals for the next year.
Yes.
And of course, at the end of the year, you have lots of fun things going on. So you have to think about what are you going to budget for Christmas and what are you going to budget for the new year? And so all that comes into play here as we start focusing. And, you know, all of us have a time where we put up with things, and then we're fed up with things. And we want to get things in order. We want to get things fixed. And this is a great time to review it so that you can get those things in order. I mean, at our house, we have this closet down in our basement that is kind of a catch-all. Whenever, you know, the boys, after they have friends over and it's a mess, we tell them to clean up their mess. Well, what happens is they pick it up from one room and they dump it in the closet.
Don't blame it on my angels. It's you that throws your extra things in that closet.
Oh, no. And so what happens eventually, Mom goes downstairs. She tries to open the door, but they've shoved so many things in there that the door won't open.
I can totally picture that.
And so then, you know, it's kind of the unleashing of the Kraken.
True.
Oh, my goodness.
Calling me a Kraken? Really?
Only at that moment. But Mom lets it be known that she's displeased with the way that they've organized the closet.
Yes.
So
yes.
now it's time to organize our finances, organize our budget, organize things so that we can be on track as we head into a new year.
What about income and expense tracking? I think that's a big part of it as well, specifically within the budget, because as we've talked about on so many shows this year about how the prices have gone up so much and inflation has affected so many families, really readdressing those things. I think it's really important, and that helps with the goal setting for the new year coming up as well.
It does, because hopefully people have goals, you know, if they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and maybe even early 50s, some of their goals are for how much they're going to be able to save in the new year. So you have to know what you're going to have coming in, what your expenses are, and what you have available.
That makes perfect sense.
So here's another big one.
Okay.
Tax planning.
Ooh.
And Greg loves talking about taxes, and he gets so passionate. But like if like our family, I'm actually the one that prepares for the end of the year for taxes.
Okay.
And this is really, really important, especially for business owners, to not wait till the very end of the year, but really start understanding early fall what your tax situation is going to look like, because now you have time to make adjustments and changes, or make additional contributions, or pull distributions out. You have time to really think through those things and get them in order so that there's rhyme and reason behind what you're doing. You're not just waiting till the end and saying, oh, I could have contributed a little more to my HSA, or I could have done, you know, a few more things differently so that I could have saved on taxes. Or maybe if you own a business, I could have purchased another piece of equipment, and that would have helped me tremendously. So really starting to nail down what your tax planning is going to look like is important as well.
Na, tax plan. No, but with the tax plan, you have to take inventory of what tax bracket you're actually in, because right now we have the 10% bracket, the 12, the 22, the 24, the 32, the 35, and the 37.
Okay.
So if you are in the 32%, 35%, or 37% brackets, it might be a good plan to defer paying the tax. In other words, if you have the opportunity at work to go into a traditional 401k and save 32, 35, or 37% on that money, I believe that might make sense. However, if you're in the 24% bracket or lower, I might look at the opportunity here to go ahead and pay the tax and take advantage of today's tax rates and get Uncle Sam out of the way.
What do you mean by that? Via what?
Via a Roth IRA, via a Roth 401k, a Roth deferred compensation plan, because OSU now offers the deferred comp Roth, which is awesome.
Yes.
I think that's a great thing that the university did for their employees. So taking advantage of that and taking advantage of today's tax rates, because as we, if we were to fast forward another year from now, then we'll be looking at, okay, the tax cuts are set to expire. Now, will they actually expire? Will they carry them forward? We don't know. But right now, we still have that window of opportunity, and it's a great time to do some planning.
Absolutely. And what about retirement contributions? We should dive into that as well.
Yes. And so what are we going to contribute to? Well, as part of your tax plan, that's determining, am I going to contribute to my traditional 403B, my traditional deferred comp, my traditional IRA, my traditional 401k? First of all, I believe it's important to actually plan to make contributions, regardless of which one it is. So planning to do that, hopefully you work for an employer that gives you a match, that gives you free money, that gives you an incentive. And so, I mean, I don't know why we need incentive to save money, on our own, but since a lot of times we do, that's a great incentive. You put your money in, we're going to give you free money on top of it. So definitely do that, whether it's in a traditional, whether it's in a Roth, and make sure that you're taking advantage of all the opportunities that you have right now, because once you get to retirement, how much you save will really help determine how well you can live.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Kristen, what about health care and insurance? Should we talk a little bit about that before the commercial break?
Absolutely. So reviewing your health care coverage is really, really important. Just like everything else, just really kind of take an inventory of where you stand in all these areas.
Yes.
And that way you're able to make the changes that are necessary. Flexible spending accounts, making sure you're using those dollars so you don't lose them at the end of the year, or contributing to an HSA account, health savings account, in order to take advantage of the tax strategy involved with that.
And now's the time of the year where there are open enrollment opportunities in the Medicare Advantage plans. So with that, from October through early December, we have that opportunity. So if someone's in a traditional Medicare supplement plan, they're 65 and older, they're on Medicare, they're in a supplement, and perhaps they watched like all health insurance plans do each year as they go up in price. In many cases, people living on a fixed income struggle with paying those higher prices. Well, the Medicare Advantage plans in many cases can offer some solutions with zero premium plans. So finding the right medical person, we have someone we've worked with for many, many years. I've known the person since 1994, and they specialize in Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage plans, and that's an opportunity to start planning now for your medical costs next year.
Well, Greg, you and Kristen have a very special offer to present to our viewers at home today before we take our very first commercial break. Let's talk about what that is.
Well, we are taking inventory, right, for the things that we want to plan for next year. And so part of that planning is dealt with in what we call our complete planning review. And what do we do with the complete planning review? Well, we're going to really investigate your investments, make sure they're on track with the risk versus return. Income, making sure that you have income that's dependable and reliable, that can last your lifetime so that you don't have that fear of outliving your money. A tax map so that you can really recognize what it can look like in your retirement with taxes. Healthcare plan, and whatever's left over, getting it to those you love as efficiently as possible. So to claim your opportunity for that complete planning review, give us a call at 614-336-7660 or go to legacyretirementgroup.com and click on Schedule Now.
Greg, thank you so much. And Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 614-336-7660, or grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Legacy Retirement Group's landing page. We're talking all about having your personal finances in order as we scoot towards the end of the year. When we come back, we're going to dive into addressing some key financial areas. Stay tuned. We'll be right back momentarily.
For over 4 decades, the government has been telling us you can save for your retirement in tax-deferred accounts and take a tax deduction on your current income. They tell us no worries. When you retire, you'll be in a much lower tax bracket. You can then take withdrawals and save a boatload of money on taxes. We have been conditioned to pay the least amount of taxes today, assuming tax rates will be much lower when we retire. But let's be honest, with over $32 trillion in national debt, we have a tax bullseye on our backs. Take control of how steep your tax burden will be in retirement by taking the Roth Conversion Challenge. Provide us with your retirement account statements, and we will design a Roth conversion plan for you and your family to make your retirement income plan truly tax efficient. Enough is enough. Don't let the future legislation significantly increase your taxes during retirement. Take the Roth Conversion Challenge with us and remove the tax bullseye from your back. Go to testmyretirement.com or call to set up your no-cost, no fees, no obligation consultation. We look forward to seeing you at our office, and have a blessed day.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking all about personal finances for the end of the year. We have a checklist, and we love that we're going through this together. Kristen, I love that we're doing this because obviously sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
That's true. You know, that reminds me of when the boys started driving. Of course, now Christian's been driving for over a year, and we've got Cameron driving, another new driver in the house.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and it's
Crazy.
it's nerve-wracking because I don't even know what to tell them. I'm so far removed. Well, you're doing that, but I'm the one that has to take them out. You don't offer to take them out, practice driving.
I value my life.
Yeah.
I value yours as well, but
I have anxiety as it is.
they
and this
actually
is-
want you to take them. It's funny.
I don't know why, because I'm a basket case. And now I try to be calm with them in the car, but you know, as I'm driving with them to try to ease their nerves, I do try to have a little conversation with them. They're going to have distractions, so I try to have easy conversations so they can try to learn to focus and do other things. And you know, I think of things as we're driving, like, well, what do you do when you get in an accident? You know, how does a kid know what to do?
It's true.
Right?
You're
What's the
right.
first thing to do? So you don't know what you don't know. And I was having this conversation with Christian one day when he was first learning, and he said that his friend had gotten lost. She didn't put the address to where she was going home from where she was in her GPS before she left, and there was no signal.
Oh, wow.
And so when she left, she thought, oh, I'll just remember where to go, and I'll just kind of try to get going, and maybe it'll kick on. Well, it never kicked on, and she drove in circles for over an hour. Couldn't find her way home. I mean, she was a mess.
Oh,
she was so
totally.
upset. And I think, you know, retirement, if we don't plan ahead and try to think out all the things that maybe we should ask questions about in advance, retirement can be a little nerve-wracking.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't have to be. So if we go through these things that we're talking about today and say, okay, these are the areas we need to focus on to be ready for, then that eases some of the anxiety and some of the pressure of the unknowns. So another one is debt review.
Okay.
If you have any debt, including your home, car, things of that nature, it's good to just look at where you're at, start making goals, including that as a part of the goal process towards your retirement. And, you know, a lot of times we talk about how the families we meet with don't have debt, but some do. And it's not always bad. It may fit into the 5-year plan, but reviewing it, seeing where you're at is really important. Another one's have an emergency fund.
Yes.
And these go a little bit hand in hand. We like to call it throughout the show, if you watch for any amount of time, the sleep well at night money.
Yes.
The SWAN money.
Yes.
It's the money that's there for one's needs and emergencies. It's there. It's not subject to the market fluctuations. Right now, it's nice because it may be getting some interest in the bank since we're seeing nice interest rates in savings accounts.
Yes.
And it's just nice to have it there. Even if you have debt, you should still have that emergency
Just
fund.
in case.
Yeah.
Yes, and what about our investment review?
Yes.
Because how do we measure how much risk we should actually be taking in retirement?
Yes.
Or as we get close to retirement, if you're over 60, how do we measure that? How do we quantify risk? You know, we many times have families come in the office and they'll say, we're in low risk investments. And I said, measured by what? And they said, well, you know, we told our advisor we didn't want to be risky. I said, well, what does risky mean? They said, well, you know, we don't want to take a lot of risk. Okay. How do you measure that? Well, we don't know. So we take them through, you know, our investment GPS, you could call it. It's not really that, but what it is, it's something that measures risk from 1, meaning very, very low risk, to 99, very, very high risk. And we take them through a series of questions. And we begin with, in a 6-month period, how much volatility can you accept in your portfolio from a dollar amount perspective? So if you have $500,000 in your portfolio, can you accept $25,000 drop in 6 months, or maybe it's $50,000 in 6 months, or maybe it's $75,000 or $100,000. But at some point, if it dropped that much, you would begin to get really nervous. So we figure out what that, you know, that nervous feeling begins at. Once we've established that, then we go through a series of, you know, I call it the financial eye test.
Okay.
Where, which looks better, this one or that one? Would you rather keep the same amount of growth with less risk, or the same amount of risk with more growth? And we establish that, then, okay, which looks better, this one or this one? We go through that series, and at the end of the questionnaire, once we've settled on what makes them most comfortable, it establishes, the software establishes a risk score. And that's the basis of the GPS. That's, in other words, the destination that we're trying to achieve. And how do you know how to get somewhere if you don't know where you're going?
That's true.
So many families, once we establish that risk score, find out that they're not in low risk investments at all, that they're in a 30 or 40 some risk score, but as far as what they're comfortable with, but their risk in their actual portfolio is in the 60s or 70s, in some case 80s. It's way more risky than they ever dreamed, but they had no idea because they had no way to measure it.
Wow.
So an investment review, Cynthia, is critical.
It is.
Really is. And then review other things like charitable donations.
Okay.
Not only if we're giving donations, how should we be giving it? If we're over 70 and a half, we can do what's called a qualified charitable distribution. And with that, we don't even get a 1099 on that distribution from the financial institution. It goes direct to the charity. It's not taxable at all, so it doesn't even count towards your deductions because it's not taxable.
Wow. Okay.
So that works well in those that are over 70.
Yeah, in lieu of an RMD.
Yes, a required distribution or just a gift. Maybe those who tithe their church or other charitable gifts.
I love that. I love that. All great ideas, and such an important time to be talking about this as we're planning for the end of the year. To our viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. And if you're sitting in the viewing audience today and you're listening to this checklist and you're thinking, I need a tune-up, I need to figure out where I am right now as we're cascading towards the end of the year, this is the perfect opportunity for you to take advantage of this complimentary consultation. All you have to do is call in 614-336-7660 or snap your QR code, that little picture that's in the corner of your TV. Use your smartphone for that. That'll take you right to the landing page for Legacy Retirement Group. You can book your time accordingly. This is your time to really focus in on where you stand today and where you want to be for the remainder of the year. This is the perfect opportunity. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking all about your personal finances for the end of the year. We have so much more to get through. Stay tuned.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the fourth worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Greg Taylor with Legacy Retirement Group. If you've amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and much more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're doing a mid-year checkup, a tune-up, if you will, of your personal finances. Where do you stand right now? This is a great checklist to follow. Kristen, I love that we're doing this today because obviously it's such an important time of year to really take stock of where we currently are. Let's talk about some final steps and future planning, jumping into financial paperwork.
Well, yeah, I mean, that sounds simple, right? Like, of course I need to know where my paperwork is. But I think sometimes those things get lost, especially now with technology the way it is. A lot of companies don't offer paper statements anymore or printed statements.
True.
And you have to log in to a website and get to, you know, your statements and your tax documents and all those things. And I have a question for you, Greg. Do you know how to log into any of our financial institutions' websites?
Yeah, just walk in the door and ask them for stuff, right?
Perfect.
You know, and I say it jokingly, but I mean, how many passwords do we have to remember now?
Oh my gosh, 15,000.
We do, and they reset, and you have to remember the questions to reset them, and then you forgot how you answer those questions.
Totally.
And when you're in towards the end of the year and you have time to figure it out and reset them, now's the time to do it so that you're not panicked when your accountant's asking you for a document, or maybe you're wanting to make a change with a financial advisor or go to a new advisor, and now you're like, I can't get to anything. I don't know how to get to it. I've got to call. I got to sit on hold for an hour. You know, so getting those things in order now while there's time on your side is really important. Another one is...
Before you go on, I want to say that we have something that we give to our clients. It's called Guarding Your Legacy Checklist.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And on that checklist is a place to outline where every single document is and a place to put in passwords. And then you can keep that in your safe. And you've got that set aside for your loved ones. So should something happen or you know, someone need to get into things, there's a place where everything is listed. And that's a great place to keep track of your financial documents.
Well, that's a great idea.
A fun fact about this checklist is Greg actually created this several years ago. Gosh, how many years ago?
A bunch.
A bunch. And we needed to recreate it, and I couldn't find the original file. And I thought, well, I'll just go and do it. And I'm looking through this list closely now because sometimes you just don't pay attention to something. You do it, and then you put it away, right?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, someone wrote this that actually doesn't really know where all these things are himself. So I went through and changed a lot of,
I resemble that comment.
I don't even know if you know this, but I changed a lot of the things that were on there because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, because I handle all the paperwork, all the accounts in our household, what is it that I'm making sure that he's going to know how to find should something happen to me? And that's really, really important. That's a great exercise. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
So another one is reviewing your credit report.
Ooh.
Yes.
And Greg had an incident with his credit report where he put in his account information somewhere, and within minutes I was getting alerts on my phone because I set all the alerts to go to my phone.
So it was
Right.
it was a cloned website. In other words, she had given me a wonderful clue of a Christmas gift. So I went to it was Stuart Weitzman boots.
Okay.
And
Oh, we're
and
gonna give them a brand,
Well, I
okay.
might as well give the brand. Hey, give them a little love.
Fabulous,
Yeah.
fabulous designer.
So-
It wasn't their fault.
Yes. So I go stuartweitzman.com. I looked it up, but I didn't realize that at the end there was a few other little things on that
It was a
particular
clone
link.
site.
Oh, wow.
A clone site. So it looked just like Stuart Weitzman when I went on and everything like that, except once I found the boots and I found her size and I put everything in, put all my credit card information in,
Oh, wow.
and the special 3-digit code on the back, and they had
Yes.
everything for our credit card. and it was a fraud.
So we went on there
gosh.
and, we went on the credit report and put a freeze on the credit. But reviewing the credit report's important too, because sometimes there might be things that show up on there that, somehow they got on there. Greg Taylor is a pretty common name,
Yes.
just going on there and making sure that things are in order.
Yes.
As well as another one is updating beneficiaries.
Oh.
That's
Yes.
another thing
It
that,
is.
Big one.
that gets missed,
Yeah.
making sure you have a beneficiary on there. Some people's family, it's complicated. There's a lot of beneficiaries.
Yes.
Over the years, we've seen where people just put one name and decide, okay, they'll distribute it to everyone else. Well, that's not decent and in order. So we want to make sure
Right.
everything's done properly and taking the time to do it exactly the way you want it. And that's a great time of year to do it towards the end.
Truly is.
And reviewing estate planning documents.
Yes.
More and more families have documents that are 15 years old, 20 years old. They're outdated. They're not really stating what they truly want at this point in their life. This is huge. Should you have a will only? Plus, durable power of attorney for financials, that's huge. I could spend 15 minutes just on that. Healthcare power of attorney, living will possibly. Should you have a trust? Should you have an irrevocable trust for long-term care planning? There's all these types of documents that are out there. We're not attorneys. We don't give legal advice whatsoever. However, what we do is try to encourage people to get help.
Yes.
Get someone, and we have people that specialize in estate planning. We have ones that are certified elder law attorneys, people that help with special needs trusts, people that really just do common wills for people that don't need those other documents. So having someone to help you and encourage you to get those things updated is crucial. So take inventory of those documents. If they're outdated, let's get them up to date so you'll be ready should something unforeseeable happen.
Well, Greg, you and Kristen have a very special offer before we close the show today. Let's talk about what that is so we can reopen the phone lines.
Yes,
and say
as
goodbye.
we push towards the end of the year, let's take inventory, and we call it our complete planning review because we want to check out everything, the 5 core areas, which is your investment plan, your income plan, your tax plan, your healthcare strategies, and whatever's left over, folks. We just want it to go to those you love. We don't want the court system, the attorneys, or the government having a part in that. So give us a call, 614-336-7660, or go to legacyretirementgroup.com.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today on Winning Retirement TV. That number to call is 614-336-7660. Thank you for spending time going through this financial checklist. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back here 1 week from today on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Take care.